Call the July 15, 2013 meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order. Would you all please join me, all three of you, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item on the agenda is unanticipated. Do any of the board members have anything under unanticipated? One?
No, I do not.
Really?
Really?
Did you make a note of that? No. Mr. Noble? Unanticipated? Alan? Nothing? Anybody have anything under unanticipated? Okay, Bruins playing tonight, is that it? Announcements and recognitions, anybody have any announcements? Yes, Mr. Noble?
I would just like to update everyone on the signal and intersection improvements at Route 105 and 495. Right now, as of the end of June, they're about 35% complete. The contractors finished installation of the electrical conduit for future traffic signals and new electrical lines under 495. Drainage operations are complete, and the contractor will complete the box cut widening areas on 105 and 495 off the ramps in the spring. The construction is scheduled to end in the spring of 2014. So I know everybody's been seeing that construction going along, and I just thought I'd give a little update.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yes.
On a lighter note, Selectman Knowlton and myself on next Monday will be at Friendly's scooping up the ice cream, starting at, I believe, 11:30.
Oh, yes.
Yes, just to let everyone know, come and join us.
Mr. Fowler?
I was going, I'd get there early just to make sure everything was in order.
I got a taste test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure.
That's
Board of
just
Health. No, nothing? Anybody have any announcements? No? Okay. I would entertain a motion relative to the July 1st regular minutes.
Motion to approve the July 1st, 2013 regular minutes as presented.
I have
Second.
a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? There's one abstention.
Mr.
Warrants.
Chair?
Yes.
I would make a motion to authorize the chairman or his designee to sign warrants for the week ending 7/12/2013.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? The ayes have it. There is no executive session tonight. The particular listing or posting does not fit the criteria for an executive session meeting, so we will have an executive session at a later date. New business. Item number one, item A, I should say, is also being postponed to a later date. We have item B under new business. And that is relative to the North Congregational Church. We want to vote to approve a request by the North Congregational Church to use barriers to block off Plymouth Street on Saturday, August 17th from 5 p.m. to 10 p.m. for a barbecue and music event, and on Saturday, September 28th from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. for a Fall Festival Craft Fair, rain date of Sunday, September 29th from 10:30 to 4 p.m. And this is relative to the North Congregational Church. The Highway Department will provide the necessary barriers that will be movable if necessary, and police and fire have no objections. It's the pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
Mr. Chairman, I would just Chief Gates actually had concern with the evening hours after dark. Did he come up with a solution? He didn't think the barriers, just a few barriers, would be sufficient. So, I'd just like to note that.
Charlie, can you check with the chief and see if he's got any alternate?
See what he needs, and we'll make sure he gets whatever he needs.
Right.
Okay. So we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor of approving the two dates as stated?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Okay, now we have a vote to approve a betterment agreement for 68 Thomas Street in the amount of $15,824.58. And this is for Peter Andrade, sewer betterment agreement. Pleasure of the board.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. We have a vote to approve the request by the Bartending Services of New England for a one-day beer and liquor, beer or in. So, we have a vote to approve a one-day liquor license for the Bartending Services of New England for a one-day beer and wine liquor license for Crazy Days as follows. Friday, August 2nd from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. in front of the Glass Company on Main Street. Saturday, August 3rd from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. and Saturday, August, I believe this should say August 3rd,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That is a mistake.
from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Massasoit for a barbecue.
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there anybody that wishes to speak to this article? Oh, Mr.
It's Crazy Days time again.
I heard the music.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened, but we'll take it. August 2nd and 3rd, downtown will be closed to traffic and open to people. And people, if you're out there listening, come on down. It'll be another good time. I think it's going to be a better time than we had last year, if that's possible. The vendors, we're just about full with the vendors at this point in time. Saturday, there's all sorts of things going on here, including a barbecue and a chicken wing contest. It's going to be held over at the Massasoit Community College campus in the afternoon and early evening. We've got music playing downtown both days, all day, and there'll also be a DJ and music over here at the barbecue to close the event on Saturday. I also understand there's going to be a dunk tank on Saturday,
Yes.
with you folks being the dunkies. Most of us can't wait to do that. So, in any event, it should be a good time. We hope that we get weather that's not quite as warm as it is out there right now. The town crier is going to be back regardless of what the weather is, so, and I enjoy doing that every year. So, in any event, the beer garden obviously is a major part of this, and along with there'll be food vendors and so on and so forth out there. But anyway, if everybody would come on down and enjoy what we call a town party. Anybody got any questions? I'll try to answer them.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr. Knowlton.
Wayne, my understanding is the chicken wing contest has been changed a little bit.
The chicken wing contest, we were originally going to have a cook-off at the location, and we had invited some folks who actually, the New England Barbecue Society, were going to come in and do a cook-off, but because of competing events, we were only able to get 3. So we've modified it. What we've done now is invited all the restaurants in town to do a chicken wing contest. And they're going to cook their wings at their own location and bring them down here. There'll be tickets available for citizens to judge them, and those tickets will be available both Friday and Saturday, by the way. The judging will take place over at the college Saturday afternoon. And whoever the winner is will receive a trophy and a banner that they can place at their establishment saying that they are the Chicken Wing King of Middleborough. So I think that adds a little bit of pizzazz to it, anyway.
That's awesome. I like that.
Anybody else?
No? You get plenty of, you say you're almost sold out for the vendor
We are,
locations?
yes.
Good.
Yeah.
You
No,
have enough
it's gone
sponsor support?
gone very, very well.
Sponsor support's coming in okay?
It has.
Good.
Yep.
And if you wanted to sign up to get a booth, it's only $25.
Middleborough businesses pay $25 for a booth. They can see Paulette Lilla right on Center Street. She runs the shop over there for the interior decorating shop. And if you appear both days, you get your $25 refunded.
So if you show up both days, it's free.
It is.
That's not a bad business deal.
Not a bad thing at all.
No, that's a good deal.
Now, the whole idea of the thing is to promote business in town and get the residents out for, here again, the other piece of it we call a town party. So, and I think we accomplished both.
Certainly did last year.
Yep, and we will this year,
Great
too.
event last year.
Yep.
I just hope that the water's a little bit less rusty this year.
Maybe we'll get them to flush the hydrants a little earlier.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Wayne, the public library will also be open during
The library will be
activities?
open. That's, in fact, some of the children's events, I believe, are happening at the library. Also, over in the Grant Building, and this is something that didn't get advertised properly last year, the Oak Point Model Train Association has a big setup that they set up in the Grant Building. So anybody that's coming down, and particularly with the kids and so on, go in and see it. It's pretty amazing stuff.
Wayne, is it going to be the same configuration, the same roads blocked off
Yes.
as last year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you approved the same road closures that we had last year. And I'm working with the DPW, police, fire, Brewster ambulance, et cetera, so all the bases are covered at this point in time. We do have a few extra comfort stations. There's gonna be 3 of them, including one handicap one right out here in the town hall parking lot, so that should be less of an issue this year than it was last year.
Very good. Okay, relative to the liquor licenses, I would entertain a motion.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right,
No, I think we did it twice.
We did too.
Think-
we did.
Yes.
We got time to waste.
Okay.
2 days.
It's a double motion.
We'll make sure we do it. All right, we're running a little ahead of ourselves here.
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we go back to announcements and recognitions real quick?
Okay.
Since this Sunday, the Middleborough Historical Association is having an ice cream social from 1:30 to 4 at the Middleborough Historical Museum located at 18 Jackson Street. And it's tickets for the 3 Scoop Sundays are $6 for adults 12 and older, $4 for children 4 to 11, and free for kids 3 and younger. The funds will support the museum operation and upkeep, operated by the Middleborough Historical Association, which is a nonprofit run by volunteers dedicated to preserving and sharing Middleborough's history. And that's a pretty good feed too, especially when you have 2 kids under 3 and you get to eat their Sundays. Just cleaning them up, cleaning them up.
Take them, yeah, take care of the kids, that's a good thing. All right. We've already had the crazy days. Yes?
Mr. Selectman, the Republican Town Committee is doing the dunk tank, and they did ask me to formally ask if each one of the selectmen is planning on taking a time slot in the tank. And I've responded positively. I'm pretty sure about Alan, yes?
Yep.
And
Oh, yeah. I'm
'Cause you
gonna
were doing
get the
it last
trophy,
year.
and I want a better trophy than I got last year.
Well, we'll see.
You're on the right track so far, Mr. Chair.
Selectman Delby?
Won't be able to do it. I
Okay.
had shoulder surgery not too long ago and still,
Yeah, that drop can be kind of sudden.
yeah, it can.
Okay, and I believe that Selectman Quell said that he's going to be available, but they just wanted me to check on that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if Charlie's available, we'd be more than happy to include
Please.
Charlie
Excuse
Cristello.
me, would you introduce yourself?
I'm sorry, my name is Brian Giovanoni.
Thank
I'm
you.
on the Republican Town Committee as well, and if Charlie was going to be around for Saturday, I'm sure we'd be able to squeeze him in.
I wouldn't want to steal all the fun.
Just figured I would check. And Mr. Chairman, if I may have put on a different hat, I forgot to mention this Thursday night, we have the concert starting again at 6 PM on the green here. So that's open to the public. Come on down, enjoy it. Families have a great time, kids running around, so it's a great use of the town hall lawn. So, thank you.
Town manager? What, you got nothing to say?
Well,
You've been back a day.
All I have to say is I had a great vacation. Otherwise, I have nothing to report.
Rushing right back, huh?
But Ms. Driscoll is here, and I don't think there's any reason why we couldn't take her now and
Okay,
do that.
come right up. Ms. Driscoll, how are you tonight?
Hi, very well, thank you. And you?
Another day in paradise.
You have a copy of the proposed Town of Middleborough's Wi-Fi Internet Service Agreement. The intent of the policy is to inform the public about the acceptable uses of the Middleborough's Wi-Fi Internet service. Public access is provided at the Town Hall and the Council on Aging. The policy has been reviewed by Council. It clearly states the acceptable uses of the wireless Internet service and outlines the improper uses and responsibility of the end user. It is the end user's responsibility to have their own firewall and antivirus protection. Middleborough does not provide guarantees regarding performance or security. In order for a person to access the internet utilizing Wi-Fi, they must accept the terms and conditions found in the agreement. The wireless will be turned on once you have approved the policy. Thank you.
Now, how are we going to make sure that people are aware of this policy? Is this something
When they go to connect, they will have to read and assent to this policy. That's the way it's going to work.
Right. There's a little splash screen that comes up that says that they actually link to the website online. And then once they say yes, they'll accept it, then they can get online. If they don't accept it, they cannot get online.
Mr. Chair,
yes?
question. Is there a filtering system for teenagers accessing this as well?
We do not filter like we do in the schools on the town side.
Right.
So there
there's not.
isn't, no.
Okay.
Is there a password or something to log into this, or you just log in?
Uh,
I don't know anything about this stuff.
No, once they accept the agreement, they'll be able to log in. So, excuse me, Tara, it's just a link, am I correct? Yeah, it's just a link, so yes.
So, like, with my phone,
Right.
I can,
You would see that, you would just log in.
external one, is that it?
External one is the one that you have right now. Well,
Oh,
this
so I'm
isn't,
already LinkedIn? Who knew? All right, good to know. Right on top of stuff. I build houses with a hammer, so
Yeah.
I know about this stuff.
yeah, no, actually, once you approved it, then we'll actually sit down with the provider and we'll basically segment how much is going for the guest access. This is for the public access. So they're not going to get all of the bandwidth. That's why, so we don't guarantee what bandwidth they're going to get. It's going to probably be experimental in the beginning, find out what the need is, and then we can always change numbers. If we find out that we need more, we can always change that.
All right.
Yeah.
Any questions? Pleasure of the board?
Motion to approve?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Comments from the audience?
Mr. Chair, I have another question.
From the audience?
Is this the extent of the broadcast of the Wi-Fi? Would it be possible for people to be using it on the lawn for, like during the concert series or things like that?
That's
How
a
far does it go?
conversation, the vendor at one point said it could go up to a mile. So we're talking the parking lot. There's some consideration as to how far you want to go. I mean, if we start giving away free Wi-Fi, that's how we get our funds through Comcast. So, just a thought in terms of, yes, they initially told us up to a mile.
Is this going to be, is it going to be a tower on, or?
But they do have one on.
We have one here.
Yeah, they do have one.
This will be one of the spots,
Yeah,
and the Council of Aging will be the other spot?
right. Yes.
Okay. No other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, you have a question?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry? Why not?
Yes, it's possible to be, I mean, we haven't set it up yet, but that's one of the possibilities. Yes. There is a possibility to have it set up so it'll be in the parking lot.
Okay. We have a motion, half a vote, so all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Gotcha.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Ms. Lopes, you seem to be concerned about this. What's... Well, we haven't seen your sparkly little, heard your sparkly voice in a long time.
My name is Jane Lopes. I work for the Middleborough Gazette. I just don't, I'm not clear on this, when is this gonna be available? And if I'm out if I'm out at the concert next week or the week after or whenever, am I gonna be able to use it or not?
Well, when will this be available?
We haven't set up a date. We were based on your approval. I know that the company's going to be here Thursday, so it might be as early as Thursday, but I haven't talked to them to commit to that.
You have all the necessary equipment in place?
Everything's in place. We just got to turn it on.
So
It's just a matter of turning it on.
We've heard that before, huh?
Well, that's why I don't promise anything until I have a talk.
I don't see any harm in having it cover the parking lot and the lawn at this point. I mean, certainly people are here for a concert and they want to bring a device and turn it on. I don't think that's going
Right.
further than we'd wanted. I think going
Right.
beyond that, I think we'd have to have a conversation, but,
Right.
I think that makes some sense.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, one of the things I've talked about many times is extending the Wi-Fi in the downtown. Maybe not super high speed, but making it available where the downtown has been identified as an economic area that could utilize this for, if they had a free availability, it'd be a wonderful item for them to have. And granted, there are some options out there, but I don't like to say just give it away, but it would be nice to offer that. I know I get it just right now. I can get it out in the lawn, in the parking lot, and sometimes out to Willie's. I get the external 2, I think, which is your office, I think. I can get that reach sometimes depending upon the day. So I do get some pretty good reach right now with this Wi-Fi in here. But I think that in the future, looking at it would be a wonderful.
Yeah, let's look at that, because I think there's some
Let's go down
benefits
to
to consider that.
Maybe some grant money.
Okay, we'll do that.
Okay, go to correspondence. We have a earth removal hearing at this permit request discussion. Do we have to have that at 7:50?
Jackie, is that are they?
Yes, we did.
So I missed it, so I have to wait till the next meeting?
Well, why don't you come up to the microphone and introduce yourself?
My name's Wendy Dries, and I was here last time. You both weren't here, but these guys were, so. I requested last time for the DPW to call me about Isaac Street because McLean Hospital just got a permit to go in, unless it's appealed. to go into the Isaac Street facility where the neural rehab was, and I had brought some documentation and had requested them to call. Well, actually, Alan said that they would probably call me, but they haven't called.
DPW?
Yeah, because the road had some disrepair, and there needed to be some signage put out there, and there was some concerns before McLean Hospital goes in there that I requested to have looked at, and I still haven't gotten an answer. So, do I request a hearing, or what do I do?
No, I met with Chris Peck today, and I gave him the minutes from the last meeting, and I asked him to look at it, so he'll be in touch with you.
Okay. I'd like to, can I, off the record, even though this is unanticipated, I'd like to make a comment to this board. I came to the meeting last time and did unanticipated, and it wasn't until after that you had done your economics person had gotten up here and did this thing on travel and tourism. But I'd like to make a comment to just the people in Middleborough that, just so you know, and I don't think a lot of people do, that High Point is now going to go at the other end of my road, which I know that the town is not legally obligated to tell me about High Point. But now we're putting McLean, and I live on that street. Now I'm not only going to have McLean Hospital at one, I'm now going to have High Point, and it's both a drug and rehab facility for inpatient and outpatient. And I thought maybe as a Board of Selectmen that maybe you guys would have, you know, I know that you've gone through the owner of this property 3 or 4 times around the loop for certain things. You know, one was a housing unit, one was for some land that was going to be promoted down in South Middleborough that she wanted for wind turbines, and another one was, you know, to look at the police station. So, you know, if you're looking at putting in travel and tourism, I don't think having 2 drug rehabs from the center of town less than a mile is anything that I want to promote as a citizen in this town, as a resident. And I don't see as how that's good business, that if you're putting that right in the dead center of our town, never mind that we already have police patrol already, that really complicates the whole issue of why we're even having this conversation, and what was your forethought about that? I mean, I know that High Point wasn't your decision eventually, and she bailed out of it, but what concerns me as a resident is now I have 2 of them now going in.
Have you brought this before the zoning board?
Yes, we have.
Okay.
Before I went to the zoning board, we were not told about High Point. The residents in the area were not told about High Point. High Point, I talked to the zoning board, and they legally couldn't tell the residents. I guess I was unaware of that. So I was not aware that High Point was going in, and I was only aware of McLean. So now my thought process about that now is it's going to both be in both areas, and it's downtown section of Middleborough. It's not anywhere in the remote area. It's downtown. It's well within a mile, even less than a mile, quarter of a mile if you're lucky.
Right.
You know, and I don't know what the people think. If people, you know, I think more people should be vocal about it and really come forward, because we don't have control over the High Point situation. We have control more over the McLean, that we could revoke it. But my problem is that it would have been nice to know that. And my other thing was that her presentation was done after the fact that I spoke about the DPW and all of that, and it would have been kind of nice to have that before, because if you're really going to promote tourism and travel, I don't know how you promote that with 2 drug rehabs in town. I really don't.
Well, we have a big town, too. There's a lot of other areas in this town that the people can visit.
No.
I mean, just because you have
I
a
agree.
drug, do
But
people
local
go to Belmont? I mean,
No.
there's a
But our
whole
local
McLean
business,
Hospital in Belmont.
I mean, if you look at our local businesses lately, they've actually declined. We don't have a lot of those local businesses downtown. If you really want to vamp that up, I don't see how you put a drug and rehab down in the center with that.
That problem isn't just our problem in this town.
I know it's not.
This
I'm
is
not saying
This
that.
is an endemic problem in our whole state.
No, I don't disagree, but I don't see how that helps or promotes it either.
Well, it will bring revenue into the town, because these people have to go out and have dinner
If
and
we're
lunches.
going to get revenue into this town, I'd rather see it somewhere else.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
You mind? Thank you. The revenue stream will come into town, will come into the businesses, because these people that work at these facilities will also go to these businesses. They'll utilize these businesses. That's a piece of the town. So we help our towns by helping our businesses.
If you're talking about employment, one of the things that McLean Hospital stated is that the only reason that they're leaving Brockton is because their lease is up. Now, I asked the gentleman when I was here if you are leaving there, what's gonna happen with those people? Those people are gonna, it's not gonna be natural attrition, they're not gonna leave, you know, it's only 15 minutes away. They're probably gonna transfer over here. So if you think that it's gonna give us, you know, 100 jobs, it's probably not going to. I understand revenue as far as taxes are concerned and revenue that way, but you also have to consider the amount of strain that it's going to be on the public too. You're talking about your police force, your firefighters, your ambulances for emergency vehicles, and now you're even talking about, you know, what if they escape? What if they're put out on the street and released to the general public? What kind of strain is that going to put on that?
I don't think that quite happens at the McLean Hospital facility. It's a
It does.
different
There was
type
a
of
gentleman
facility.
here with 19 pages from Belmont stating that there was 19 pages of incidences.
So you have brought all this to the planning board?
Yes, we
to
have, and I will
various
bring it up
boards.
again.
Okay.
But I just want it to be mentioned that I felt like the Board of Selectmen, I don't think it's the Board of Selectmen's fault. I think that the way that the agenda was presented, I kind of wish that I had known more about it, and probably put her, you know, I know that it wasn't, it's just the way the agenda worked out, and I, you know, in disregard to that. And I just kind of wish that unanticipated was moved towards the latter part of the program instead of the beginning, so that we could hear from all these other venues that were speaking and then have some kind of rebuttal.
One of the reasons that we put unanticipated at the beginning of the meeting, because it was for things that pop up that didn't
Yes,
have,
but
that
then-
didn't have time to make it to the agenda,
Yes, I
that
agree
people
with
want to
you.
discuss, and people can discuss.
And I agree,
This
but
board's
Ben, well,
never shut anybody down from talking about a topic when the discussion was brought up with
I'm not
whoever was
saying-
bringing it up.
I'm not saying that you shut me down. Ben Quell stood right here and told me that they needed to move on and we had to bring it up. Either that or I'd have to put it on an agenda later. So, you know, I'm back 2 weeks later, even from the DPW, and not heard anything from this board either. So, you know, that concerns me, that I feel like even though you're giving me the right to speak, it's almost like I don't have any, you know, no return on that either.
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
When I first got on this board, the agenda was the unanticipated was the last item agenda. I've stayed here till 11:45, so I could get up and say, I'm not crazy about the parking lot over there. So from 7 to midnight, I waited, so I could say my piece. As a resident, because I attended meetings as a resident for 3 years before I ran for the board. That was my idea, so, to save you time, so you didn't have to spend all night here waiting to say your piece.
I agree, I understand that.
The
but I
agenda is set up in a manner so that you can say your piece, and if something else comes up throughout the night, we can talk about it. Not wait till the end, till after all discussions are over, and then you get up, say whatever you want to say, and we say thank you, good night, and walk out. I like the way the agenda is set up. It's not tailored to you.
I'm not asking to be tailored.
I'm not saying just you. It's not tailored to anyone's specific interest. It's tailored so you can get up and say your piece before anybody else says anything else. So your thoughts are on our minds for the rest of the evening, not the,
Right.
not the reverse.
No, I don't disagree with you, Alan.
As far
my-
as the agenda is set, I'm steadfast in my belief that it's set up correctly.
I just felt like it would have been nice to hear, other things
We
and to
can't
into
tailor
play.
the
And I
agenda to
agree, it may not
everyone's-
happen. And that's why I'm here tonight, is because obviously it wasn't stated in the first time around, and obviously what I took into content wasn't, I still haven't heard from or have been responded to either.
Well, I specifically remember saying that when the town manager got back, we would talk to him and he would get together with the DPW director. He got back today,
Okay.
so he talked to the DPW director today.
Well, I guess my concern is now, you know, I'm assuming I'm gonna hear from them. I know, I've heard from.
Well, you will.
You will.
Okay.
Okay?
I'm just concerned that I won't.
I live on that street too, so I have to tread very carefully on how I discuss
Oh, no, I
it.
understand. You live on that
But I
street.
can guarantee you, you're gonna hear from me. I can
Okay.
guarantee you that.
I don't know if that'll fix my problem, but that's a start
I
from
don't know if
somewhere.
it will either, but it's a step in the right direction.
I know, I said it was the right direction. It's only gonna fix my street problem maybe, but it's not gonna fix in the presence of having two of those facilities on my
As
street
far as
either.
High Point goes, we haven't been able to have a discussion on that. We haven't taken a vote on it. It's a business that's coming into town. It has a
I'm
legal
what-
right to come into town. We don't have a legal right to stop it.
Yes, I understand that. I'm well aware of that. And I
So-
understand
And it's
that.
gonna bring 200 jobs into town.
Even if it brings 200 jobs, it's still going to put a strain on your police station and
It
a
may and it
strain
may
on your
not.
fire.
I don't know if everybody is as educated as they should be on this type of facility.
You're right, I don't think they
'Cause
they
I
are.
mean, if you can tell me how many beds there are and how many people escape from a unit that size with that many beds, I'm more than happy to have a discussion with you about it at a later date.
I would be glad
Because we can't have
to.
that discussion tonight, because it's unanticipated.
No, I understand. I totally understand that I have to put it off, and I'd be glad to have that conversation later. And I'll do my homework and I'll bring it back, but I definitely want it brought up because you only have so much time before you can even appeal it if you appeal it.
We can't appeal the decision for High Point to be here.
No, I know you can't appeal High Point, but you can appeal McLean. You definitely can.
Okay, thank you.
So. Oh, can I just mention one more thing?
Sure.
I know it's the Board of Selectmen, sorry to, Mr. McKinnon doesn't look happy with me, but
That's his
sorry.
normal face.
That's me.
It is? Okay.
I always look like this.
Okay, all right. I would just like to say, if McLean does go in, the Board of Selectmen is, I believe it's you can correct me if I'm wrong, that needs to speak to the police station, because what I want is within a 1 mile radius, I want a call line. If anybody does escape from that unit and be called, because the prison has it and they escape all the time. And that's a psychiatric ward and they come out of there. And I would like to, and we have that from Bridgewater to Middleborough, we have a call line for that, and I would like that brought up to say, see if you guys can implement that through the through the police station if that's necessary with McLean, because I really would think that you should put that on the agenda if they do go in there.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just interesting that this should come up, because next meeting, we're going to talk about the new emergency notification system we're about to implement that we've been working on, called Code Red, which would, give us the same capability we've been using through the county in-house.
Okay. So can that be brought up at a later date or at the next meeting, right?
Talk about it at the next meeting.
Okay. Do I have to request it on the agenda, or you'll put it on the agenda?
It's on the agenda already.
It is. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, correspondence?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
on number 4, the letter from Jonathan Libby, I just wanted to let the board know that I did speak with Bob Whalen today, and he is going to have the sign taken down on Smith Street.
Okay.
It should not be that where it is, and it will be taken care of in the next day or two.
Okay.
Also, my favorite topic is on here. Choo-choo, the train. I've been in contact back and forth with Chris Pajerski. Actually, I've been more in contact with him than he has been with me. But I guess we did receive the official letter from the DOT here. Disappointing, to say the least. Saying that the commuter rail north of us goes 60 miles an hour or 70 miles an hour and may be going 79, and our tracks can handle that. Nobody is arguing about the tracks. Actually, it was the last page. What it boils down to here is a slower train will also result in longer travel time, which negates the need for the train, and less ridership, which makes the cost of continuing the service prohibitive. That's what it boils down to, I guess. They have to keep this running. They did say also in the second to last paragraph that if we were having any problems, that they would send someone out immediately to address the issues with the crossings. So I guess it's same old, same old.
Mr. Chair, can I just make some comments on that?
Certainly.
They don't seem to understand that there are no at-grade crossings north of the Lakeville Middleborough station in Middleborough, and that none of those trains have ever gone through South Middleborough, or haven't in 30 years. They haven't gone through South Middleborough at more than 30 miles an hour for the past 20, 30 years. I don't know why they don't understand that, or they refuse to acknowledge it.
Well, they seem to think, Mr. Chair, also they say that 30 miles an hour isn't going to make a difference. If people are going around those gates when they're down, they're breaking the law, and it's their fault if they get hit.
Hey.
Well, nobody's arguing that. Again, it's a catch-22, back and forth. We can point the finger forever. Yes, it's against the law. You know you're not supposed to do it. It's happening, and the problem I have with this is a lot of times it's happening because those gates are malfunctioning. People are used to them malfunctioning. I know.
The gates won't be fixed because they can't buy equipment to replace the equipment.
Well, they'd
that's
have to
wrong.
replace everything. And they said in here, they have to systematically update the warning systems in place. I don't know what the timetable for systematically is.
It'd be interesting
It's a
to see
fancy
the-
word for never.
Thank you. He's so much more blunt, yes. I guess we have to just keep letting them know when they malfunction, and hopefully eventually they'll catch up and get them up to date.
What-
I guess my question is, do we just stop at this letter? Or is there someone else higher that, you know, that we can go to?
We've gone to our representatives. Our representatives have gone to the rail people.
And nothing? They're just gonna, I mean, I know what you're saying,
No,
that
yeah.
it's illegal to go around it, but if they're
Well, that's
malfunctioning,
what-
then that's just public safety in itself. And why isn't
Exactly.
anything-
That's my
I
argument.
just don't understand that.
Exactly, that's my argument.
I mean, what do we do, petition
So
them, or sit out there and on crosswalks and go to the local newspapers or something?
Well, we have done all of that, first of all. Second of all, not only our representatives, but our state senator has gone to the DOT. I guess it's the Department of Transportation. In Massachusetts, that's about as high as we can get. And this was
So
their...
until somebody actually gets killed, that's all
Well,
right.
that's what we keep saying here.
Mhm.
You can be dead wrong, and if they want that on their conscience, I certainly don't want it on mine. Like I said, if you, the correspondences and the phone calls, and they've been pretty much one way, from us to them.
So this is it then, this is,
To even get a letter like this seems to be to them, for them, their response, you know? I mean, we can keep chipping away at it. Like I said, I tell the people that live in the vicinity of these crossings to let us know. The more documentation we have, I forward that documentation every single time. I hope it doesn't get to the point where someone is dead wrong by breaking the law and going around.
I have to say I appreciate it, though, I really do. Thank you.
That's all I have on correspondences.
That's it?
Yeah.
Wow. Mr. Fowler?
Dan Badger Wilderness Guides is having a golf tournament.
Veterans Invitational?
Veterans Invitational. Here we go. August 24th, 2013, 8 to 1 p.m., lunch 1 to 3. It's going to be at, where is it? Trying to find it. You guys, anybody else know where it is? Because I can't find it on here. I think it's at Southers Marsh. All right, well, it's on August 24th at a location. It is Southers Marsh, right. 8 to 1 p.m. There's more information at badgerwildernessguides.org/golf tournament. It's for, it's a Veterans Invitational, so it's, Dan's a good guy, puts on a good show. Should be a good time. I don't play golf, so I won't be there playing golf. I might go down there for lunch. But he's running a pretty good thing over there. So if you're interested, you can get in touch with him at badgerwildernessguides.org. And we'd appreciate your support.
He's also looking for some sponsorship assistance on this. So if anybody wants to, there's various levels of sponsorship from, looks like $250 up to $1,500 for various levels of involvement. It's a 501c3 nonprofit, so it's tax deductible, and it goes to a good cause. We went out the first time when we were out doing the.
Cleaning up the river, I've
cleaning
done
up
it
the
twice
river.
with him, yeah.
You went out the second time also?
Went out the second time. I didn't make it this Saturday. I had a one-year-old birthday party.
Well, congratulations on being one. Very good.
I did have another one, item number 5 from FEMA, the response to the planning board letter regarding the Nemasket River study data. That was a pretty interesting letter.
Do you know what it says?
It says Ruth was right.
It seems to, yeah.
That's what it says. That's my summation. Ruth was correct. So I thought that was, it's nice to have a little validation, excuse me, and thank you to Ruth for staying on top of this for all these years. And yeah, it's not our dams, it's not our herring run, it's the river itself, and it needs a little cleaning up. So it's, we should keep this close to us for next spring when the whole carnival starts again.
We'll scan it and have it ready to send out to everybody.
And number 2 from us to MIPA regarding the Taunton Casino. Went through Ruth's letter again, and Ruth once again did a bang-up job on that. I think she addressed a lot of concerns that obviously hadn't been addressed, and I think a lot of things that hadn't even been thought of yet. Again, Ruth has been on top of this for a number of years, and she's doing a great job, and we appreciate it. Number 8 from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. If, through you, Mr. Chair, if we could ask Charlie if he has any thoughts on this.
Is that the budget?
19,000 square feet of space, I think it
Leasing
is.
space that they're looking
Oh,
for.
yeah. I've been aware of this for some time, actually. I've talked to Fred Posniak, who's the head of E911, tried to get him interested in a couple of buildings before, and now that it's out to bid. The trouble is when they put these out to bid, you don't know if they're really looking for space or if they've already gotten space and they're just going through the process. So I'm going to call Frank and see if they're really looking for space or if they found space and they're just going through the procedures.
Now, isn't there a current facility in Taunton?
They're in Taunton right now, but they have to,
Expand?
find new space. Yeah.
Might be a good idea to get them over here.
Yeah, no, I've certainly talked to him on a couple of occasions about it, and, if this is for real, we'll pursue it.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to this request for 19,000 square feet, my thought has been, I got a building downtown that may or may not become vacant in the next year, and I'm concerned about it. And it just happens to be 18,900 square feet of space. And that happens to be the Mayflower Bank building. With Mayflower Bank being bought out by Rockland Trust, I don't know what the future of that building is, but there's 19,000 square feet right there that if they don't keep that, I mean, we have a Rockland Trust big building up there where the old Middleborough Bank and Trust is. I don't know if they're going to keep that and when, but there's another building, hopefully downtown, that stays full.
Yeah.
But that's just food for thought.
Good. Mr. Fowler? You done?
That does it for me.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Knoll?
going back to item 5, the FEMA report, I'd just like to thank Representative Oral for getting FEMA to fund that study. I believe that effort was done through her office. So I appreciate that she did that for our town. I also note on number 11, no, is it 11? Yes, number 11, that cable rates
Going up.
are going up for new subscriptions starting in August. Minor increases, but still increases. I think the biggest one is for the full entertainment package, an increase of $7. Well, that would do it for me.
Relative to the FEMA letter, the planning board response to the Nemasket River study, now that we have some validation that the river is the problem of the river, not the dam or the herring run, are there any avenues we can pursue to try to get funding for some type of activity to either dredge or level or clean up the segment from the Assawamsett down to, maybe Ware Street?
My idea that I've offered on a number of occasions is that we should seek an earmark. This complex impacts a number of communities, including a couple of large cities that have a fair number of elected representatives, and I don't know why, if they all got together and sought an earmark or some other funding through some other vehicle, a supplementary budget request or something like that, that shouldn't be the way to fund this. It's not exactly something that's, it's got a fair amount of, seriousness to it. It has the impact in flooding people's homes. So why wouldn't that take precedence over other, other potential funding, opportunities? So I've been, saying that for quite some time, that given all the communities that it impacts, if those communities got together and put their, muscle behind it, that we should ask for an earmark.
We're only in, we'd be talking about what? One congressional or two congressional districts?
Yeah, but even at the state level, we're talking about, a number of senatorial districts and certainly a number of representative districts. To me, that should, carry some weight.
What about crafting a letter to all of the towns up and down? And even that might even hit the...
Well, why don't I speak with Representative Oral and seek out her counsel on how to approach this? I think that would be the best way.
Because I think if we can get together, get the whole group together, and sign off on something, not that. Okay. So
yeah, but I'll
I've been away a week.
I'll consult with her and get her advice on how to approach it.
Okay.
I think it was at the meeting for the pond group last year about this time that we were talking about that, and there was various groups who wanted to take the lead on this. If you can get any group of politicians together to agree on something and write a letter together, I'll be impressed. But I know that Senator Roderick's from Lakeville, who has a very big interest in this, had mentioned the exact same thing, and certainly seemed in favor of something like that. And there were a number of other elected leaders who thought that it might be a pretty good idea. I think it's a pretty good idea because it certainly shouldn't be on Middleborough. I mean, we don't even use the water that's coming out of there. New Bedford, Taunton both sell that water. The residents around Assawamsett and Lakeville, it's the largest aquifer system, natural aquifer system in the state. It feeds the Taunton River. There should be federal money because it's part of the herring run. That's a federally protected fish. So there's certainly potential to get a group of people together all on the same page and move forward. So if I can do anything to help you in that effort, I'd be more than happy to.
Okay.
Mr. Knowlton, anything else?
No.
Okay. 8:50, 7:50?
It is.
There you go. We're going to talk about Mr. Arruda and his request for
Food is here.
earth removal permit travel route, request an alternate route. Mr. Arruda?
Joseph Arruda, owner of Bridgewater Rainham Sand and Stone. We've taken over an existing location that a previous gravel company was hauling from on the corner, well, almost directly across from Wall Street on Rocky Meadow. Our pit location is in Bridgewater, so we requested a direct route, trucking route from that location to our facility in Bridgewater, where the previous company that came out of there traveled in the opposite direction. So economically, it doesn't make sense for us to go the same truck route that they were going. And I just asked the board if they would consider making that change so that we could make a direct truck route to our facility in Bridgewater.
question. If you'll bear with me for a moment while I find. Maybe I won't find it. The permit that you have there, this earth removal permit, was issued in valid permit of 3 years, up to a 1 year thereafter, discretion at the Board of Selectmen to extend it. And this was issued, when was this issued?
I think it was 2007. Yeah, I'm sorry if there's confusion there. That's a valid permit. It had been renewed. I just printed it off the computer because I ran out of time. But they also fell into the category, there's a new state law, I can't think what it's called off the top of my head, that gives an automatic additional extension. So they're good until I believe it's October.
Yes.
Roundabout there. I have the date on a spreadsheet on my computer, but it is valid. I realize what you're looking at.
So this is valid till October of this year?
It is, yeah. September, October, because I did look at it at some point in the last month.
Because I would think that at some point, 192,743 cubic yards must have been removed by now. It's been going on for a long time.
Yes. I am not privy to the yardage the previous person taken out. We were just cleaning up what was left there.
Having lived through one of these, when I first moved into my house, there was a steady stream of trucks going by my house every Monday through Friday from 7 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon. And it didn't bother me, but I thought, my God, they're building a cranberry bog, and they're building a hole out here. Maybe they're digging a tunnel to China, I don't know. They've been taking dirt out of this thing forever. And this is what this looks like. Are we building a cranberry bog? Because usually these things are issued for that purpose. And suddenly it becomes a mining operation. And the folks in town understand this happens. It's an agricultural environment we live in some areas. But there's got to be an end to everything.
Exactly.
It can't go on forever.
No.
And having a constant stream of trucks going up and down your streets, damaging the streets. The streets are made for, naturally they're designed, but when you're having all that weight hitting those streets all the time, that has an effect on the highways, on the roads.
Yep.
And we don't have a lot of road money, and the state doesn't want to seem to cough up the road money we're supposed to be getting. And every time we go to rebuild a road, it seems to cost $1 million. So my concern is, as much as changing the direction for you to convenience you, it's going to cause more damage to our already not in very good shape roads. And you want to go down Rocky Meadow? Is that it?
I want to take a right out of the pit and then immediate left onto Wall Street.
Wall Street.
Yes. That's a current truck route that we've taken for years from different locations. This pit has a current permit till October. There's not a tremendous amount of material. The material that was left behind by the previous company was of no use or value to them. To us, there was some value. We're trying to finish the permit so the Hodges can have a completed project, not just they want to, I mean, they are probably the top grower in the area, and I know they want to keep a good reputation of finishing the projects they started. They came to me and asked us if we would be willing to finish the project. We've done business with them before from other locations. We're happy to oblige. Unfortunately, the truck route, I think, and I'm just going from what I recall, we had a current permit down the street, and I know the Board of Selectmen take trucking on the streets very serious. So I think at the time, my trucks, if this pit was allowed to go that way, it would have converged with my trucks that were coming out of our pit. So I think the selectmen at the time, and I'm just going on an assumption, we're trying to minimize the truck traffic down that street. Well, now that that pit is done, and I was the permit holder on that other project, we only have 5 trucks. We only own 5 trucks. Those same trucks would be going the same direction, but just coming a little bit closer to this new current location. We wouldn't be adding any more truck traffic. It would be the same truck traffic that has been going down that road. It just would continue a shorter distance to this new location.
Well, I know all those streets. It doesn't bother me you going by during the day because my wife's at home. It's all right. But the problem is that street, part of that street you're going to be driving on is already pretty badly beat up, and they tried to put a chip seal on it last year, and that was not very effective, shall we say. And we're going to, well, I'm going to let my board members talk about this. Do my board members have anything to say about that?
I have a couple questions. So you said finishing up the job. So when do you anticipate having to go past the permit that expires in October?
Not for what is left there. There's not a tremendous amount of material left from that phase of the permit.
So then your traffic will be stopping at that point, this truck traffic?
As far as that permit, that is correct. Whether they have other, they have room to expand their cranberry bog, whether they can do that. I know Ocean Spray has some regulations on how much they can do, but I'm not going to say that they couldn't expand at some point. I'm not privy to that. I'm just, from what is in front of me today, to tell you we only have till October, and that would be an easy finish for us. There's not a lot of material left there. The material is a certain market. It's not a high-quality material. That's why it was left behind. But to us, we do have some value to it. So we've been seeking to finish the project so that they could, close that part of their project out.
My other concern was, as it is, it's a residential area where you're talking to go through. I mean, your present route, you're cutting over to 58, which is a little more, I don't want to say not residential, but it's a larger main artery. What are the hours that you usually, are you limited to those?
They're the same hours. We are 7:30 to 4 o'clock.
Okay.
But like I said, that truck route is the truck route that we currently take. Before this bog, we've been taking that truck route for the last 7 years.
Okay.
We have, like I said, we only have 5 trucks. I police the trucks. I don't think speed, any concern by the neighbors, speed is not an issue. Truck noise is not an issue. All our trucks are equipped with, they don't have the loud exhaust pipes, and we have mufflers on all the trucks. Our truck drivers are courteous. We police that ourselves pretty regularly, and we're not adding. That was the concern. I believe one of the neighbors had was that we're adding more trucks. We're not going to add any more trucks. It's going to be the same trucks that have been going by their house for the other permit. It's just that bog is done, and they asked us if we would be willing to finish this one. We were obliged to finish this one if the board would allow us to finish that through that truck route.
When you talk when you're talking the other bog, you're talking about Tisbequin and Rocky Meadow?
No, sir. I was talking about the one off the end of Rocky Meadow, Logan's. It's actually on the Middleborough Carver line.
Oh, okay.
That's all I have.
How's the note? Mr. Mulligan?
A couple of questions. Changing the route, is this going to allow you to finish the project earlier, or is this just a convenience thing for a daily basis?
It'll allow us to finish the project. To go the other way, it's the material is not a gravel. It's a more of a fill material. We have no interest in the material. If everything today is unfortunately, is a dollar. The economics of it, for us to go out and around, it doesn't allow us to finish the project for him. I mean, not saying that he can't find somebody else to finish it, but for us, with what we have in front of us, to go the complete opposite direction and come back around, it's just, it doesn't work for us.
My second question is, actually, we have been getting complaints. This was passed before my tenure on the board, but apparently we are getting complaints about start times in the morning, dust and noise. I'm wondering, Charlie, do you have more information about that?
I don't have a lot more information about it, no. I mean, I've got the same number you have.
So I'm wondering, according to the permit, it says 7:30,
That's correct.
and you're not starting any earlier than that or having trucks lining up or anything?
Absolutely not. They can put, I can't stress enough that our trucks do not leave the Bridgewater location till after 7. They won't line up on the side of the road. They won't park in any of the parking lots local. They come, we keep them at the Bridgewater location till, I think it's 7:15. Then they travel on. By the time they get there, it's usually past 7:30, because it takes the operator, he can't start the machines till 7:30. It takes the operator a little bit to get them greased. And then usually the first trucks don't leave there till probably 7:45.
My concern is, these large trucks going through residential areas early in the morning.
I would like to hear from the residents after this, but I don't think, I hate to say this from the first memo we got from Mr. Peck, but if what Mr. Arruda was saying, that's just, he's got 5 trucks and they're running the same route, I don't see, even if, and I'm not saying that they are, I'm just saying if your trucks are the ones that are being complained about, there's not going to be any spike in the complaints, it's going to be the same trucks running the same route. That being said, I don't like the idea of complaints either.
And neither do we.
Increase certainly does, they're not going to increase, but I'd like to see them decrease. It doesn't say that they're your trucks here, it just says that there are complaints on trucks at that route. If, as far as the start time of 7:30, I don't have a problem with that. I think that's a reasonable start time. But if it's, what is it, start times is 7:30, that's, yeah. Monday through Friday.
Yeah, Monday
Yeah.
through Friday, no holidays.
That's, I mean, if you're in any type of construction business, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Those are the rules, as long as it's not early. You say your trucks have your mufflers and you keep on top of them, I'd appreciate it if you kept that. And dust, how do you guys address dust issues?
We have a water truck, usually on site. We haven't, this year, we have not been hauling out of there. Unfortunately, the rain has been helping us tremendous, and the Hajus have a irrigation system that actually sprays the road at that location. But if it needed, we do have a water truck that we would bring to the location, like we do on the Tispequin Rocky Meadow pit. There's a water truck that goes there. The water truck hasn't been there because it has not been necessary. So the dust issue has been a concern, and we would address that immediately. The truck sound, the noise, the traffic, the speed, it's all stuff that we take in consideration. We post my number on the sign, so if anyone has a concern, or, if they think that there's something that was one of our trucks, they could call me immediately, and we can find out what truck it was, and my drivers know that we'll rectify the problem.
And I just want to be clear, this letter doesn't say that they're your trucks that there are complaints about.
Oh, we've tried to help in the past with other trucks, and try to minimize what is going on in the area, because if someone's upset about it, obviously Jackie hears about it, and then you hear about it, and then we're here. So we try to head that off.
We have I think a resident from behind here would like to come up and say a few words.
Hi, Mr. Chairman, Bob Lassard, 844 Plymouth Street. I'm a complainant for our residents in the area. I got back from Florida in April. And I was approached almost immediately when I got home because I've been fighting these type of things for a bunch of years in our neighborhood because of the bogs you're living right next to and other bogs in the neighborhood. So they were telling me that the trucks were going back and forth, and they didn't know where they were coming from. And I happened to be going over to the Western Forest where I'm the chairman of the property and happened to follow one of these guys, BRS, down Wall Street. And lo and behold, he went into that particular pit, into the bogs there. I had thought that thing had been stopped and dead. As you know, Mr. Chairman, I went to your house and approached you about it because the signs up there for the permit that were on the property had no relation to what they had. This particular permit that was hanging there happened to have expired and the work had been completed like 3 years ago, and the permit sign was still hanging there. I called Jackie up and explained to her that there was some problem there, that I couldn't figure out what was going on, because at my house I have kept all the earth removal permits in the area, so I could know what the heck was going on there, and I could approach the Board of Selectmen or the town manager. This is going back, when I went to your house, it was in the middle of May. And then I got a hold of Jackie on May 29th, and I said, I hope you have found the permit for the earth removal at Rocky Meadow, which had been issued previously to G. Lopes Construction under permit number 72, with a phone number 508 and blah, 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 and that's on a sign hanging near the entrance to the bogs. Currently, trailer loads of earth are constantly being transported from the site, mostly BRS trucks. Thanks, Bob Lassard. So then I went and took a picture of the thing, and I sent it to Jackie. She says, I got your photo. I didn't have a free moment today to look at it, but we'll do the first in the morning and touch bases with you once you have some information. As you know, when you issue an earth removal permit, it's a contract. It's stipulated in there step by step what the companies are supposed to do. And one of the things that irritates me here this evening, this man is not a party to that permit. The Haju brothers signed that permit, not Mr. Aruda. He was hired by them. He has no business representing them unless they gave him a letter or you had a hearing that they transferred the property over to him to manage. This is the sign that was hanging there for months, And the thing is, as you will note, the sign is hanging by one screw or a nail, hanging in the air, that anybody can look at and see that it's hanging there. Is this the property that's under permit? No, it wasn't. The sign that's supposed to be there wasn't there, which caused a mess of confusion. Consequently, there is a sign now telling you what permit is supposed to be there. Jackie sent me a letter, an email on 6/4. Charlie, Chris, our new DPW director, and I met with Joe Aruda this morning. This Joe has an ER permit 10-1, Chop Chalk Cranberries Incorporated, map 44 on Tispiquin Street. He's hauling for Dana and Derek Haju under permit 074. That's what's hanging there now. They just hung it up. He's been going out of that bog for months and months without having the permit number that was supposed to be hanging there. And the Haju brothers are responsible for not having that hung up. And then we thought the original sign was for the O'Connors with putting a big pond in back there for a while back, a few years back. So she put down, Jackie did, this is not the O'Connor site. The O'Connors received a certificate of completion of 7/28/08. Mr. Aruda is allowed to haul from the Haju site. However, he is required to have the appropriate stickers on his trucks, identifying the site and the assigned permit number for the site from which he is hauling. I take great issue with Mr. Aruda's signs. You want to see what his signs look like? This is in relation to one of his signs. Can you read that? Can you read that dollar bill? Because what he's got on his truck is a bumper sticker. Have you ever tried to go up behind a truck of hauling dirt and rocks and stuff to see what's on that sign? All you're going to do is get bopped around with little rocks falling out of the thing, and the guy stops you in his truck. They're supposed to have a sign that's readily readable so you can see it and be visible at a distance, so you can get the number of that permit off of there, plus the phone number if you've got some problems with a complaint, such as dropping dirt or having an accident and running away, so you could find it. Mr. Aruda, a bumper sticker does not cut the mustard. Then, the permit is required to have on display a 2x3 sign erected on the gate displaying the permit number, the name and phone number of the permit holder's agent, and the name and phone number of the Board of Selectmen's agent, together with the words, "No trespassing, earth removal in progress." Mr. Aruda has assured us that he will conform with these requirements immediately. Now remember, this was June 4. June 4, he had a meeting with these folks. For your convenience, this is Jackie's letter. I have attached a copy of the current earth removal permit 7-4. As you will see, it does read that no work will begin prior to 7:30 a.m. We have shared with Mr. Aruda the claim that his employees have been hauling prior to 7:30 a.m. Mr. Aruda denies that to be accurate and has offered his telephone number if you would like to speak with him directly. If you have any questions, and I have some, about them not being on the property and getting loaded, the trailers came by my house, 7:18, the first one. The next thing I know, they're coming back out at, 7:35, 7:41. Who's loading them that quick when they go into the thing? They're just going in and all of a sudden the thing's there and somebody's dumping it in and they're out the door again. And they're coming by the house. So they were coming a little too early. One of the things I'm going to suggest to this board, you know, you say it's early in the morning, your contractors, and you got to start early and all that. We never take into consideration the school kids that are standing on the corners waiting for the bus. His crew came through, and unfortunately it was the timing they came through. Damn near hit a school bus coming back on the other side of the road. They went around, and the school bus was coming at him. I couldn't believe it was close. But that's the unfortunate situation. No dealing on his, he's going at the right time, but we got kids out there. I think we should start at 8 o'clock in the morning, and so you alleviate the problem of a potential accident out there. I'd hate to see a kid or somebody in the school bus get whacked. He is right. His drivers are pretty good. They're pretty darn good. Every once in a while, one of them get a little anxious and booted a little, but I've got no complaints about his drivers. I drove tractor trailers. His guys are really good, and they're courteous. So anyway, what we did after, we got this from Jackie. I went to they were still coming through. 2 weeks after June the 4th, he's still coming through the wrong way. The permit in here, it's very emphatic on where he's supposed to go and how he's supposed to drive out of that place. And it's, you know, not made up. He went there before. He was working the other place. And when Lopes was in there doing the pond, he went the way that you're supposed to go. There's a sign as you come out of the bog, it turned right. It doesn't say go across the street at an angle and cut cars off. You had a rental guy, a fellow that you hired, or he working for you somehow, not one of your trucks. The guy, I was going down the corner, all of a sudden he come around, he's got a sleeper cab, he came around the corner, damn near pinned me at the corner. I had to back up so he could get around down to Wall Street. It's just one thing after another. He's not the applicant, he's not the signer of the agreement and the permit. He shouldn't even be here.
Well, all he's asking for is a different routing.
Yeah.
That's his.
I understand that. Now, he's talking about the monies, the cost to go down that route. I went there this morning, took the mileage. From Wall Street, Rocky Meadow driveway, I went the route, go down Purchase Street to 58. That's 1.5 miles. You take a left-hand turn, you go down to 44. The reason they don't want to go that way, because you end up, when you hit 105, at 105, it's on Plimpton Street, it's 8.9, okay, where you're supposed to go by the route. Coming shortcutting through our neighborhood, down Wall Street, past Mr. Quell's house, by your house, down by my house, down Carmel Street, down Plimpton Street, over to 105 is 4.3 miles. So it's a distance of 4.6 extra to do the job the way you signed the contract for and agreed to. Now, I don't know what it costs for fuel today for diesel. It's probably closer to $5, I don't know. So For 4.6 miles, I think the regular tractor, he may disagree with me, may tell you a different story, but I think it's about 8 miles to the gallon. Is that correct? Somewhere in that vicinity?
I'm not here arguing.
No, I'm just asking a question.
Honestly, I'm asking.
Excuse me.
Okay.
Keep your
Yeah,
questions.
yeah. So anyway, if that's the case, it'd be about a $3 charge extra to take that over the proper route and not impact the neighborhood. Basically, that's about it. He's got, this agreement here is specific on what you're supposed to do, where you're going to do it, and how you're going to do it. And that's it. And if you don't agree to that, and at a particular time, what are these other companies going to be doing if they think they can get away with it? So June 4th, he was running. I got a hold of Mr. Peck and explained it to him. At the second week, he said, oh, when we sat down with him, we kind of agreed that we'd let it go, get him squared away for a couple of weeks. Okay, next week goes by, he's still running down there. So I went back, called Jackie up, and made a comment to her. Then the following week, I got a hold of went down to the DPW building and talked to Mr. Peck again, and we went over the maps and everything else, and he said, yep, you'll get a hold of him and try and, here we are.
Okay.
Okay? Thank you.
Very good, sir. Thank you, Bob. All right, there's been some concerns about signage, all the stuff that we have on our inspection report that supposedly has been fine, that apparently isn't fine. So I'd like to get the inspections redone. I'd like to get Mr. Peck to describe what these situations are before we make a decision on changing this route. And let's stick to the route that's on the permit, and then we can discuss this. We'll discuss it, we'll bring this up at the next meeting? Sure. Okay. Sir?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, I live on Rocky Meadow Street, and as I watch the gravel operation behind my house go on, one of the things I'd be concerned with is, as they're coming out of, making this right-hand turn out of the bog, which they do have a great landing pad there that was made as paved, which isn't required, but it's there, they're going to make a hard left turn onto Wall Street. And my concern is what happened at the corner of Rocky Meadow and Tiscoquin. When you make a hard turn, the tandem duals have a tendency to tear asphalt. And my concern is that we're going to tear that corner up. Because in Tiscoquin Street by the late Amos's house, it got torn up and it has never been repaired. And I don't recall who actually was doing the gravel removal operations out of that one. But somebody was doing that gravel operation out of Bridgewater. I don't know who it was. But that has never been repaired. That asphalt got torn up, and I'd hate to see the same thing happen here. Thank you.
Okay. All right. We'll get Mr. Peck on this, and we'll get all this signage squared away. We'll get the re-inspection done properly. Okay.
The signage, I believe, is adequate.
Well, we have the permit.
inspector.
We have the permit, what the permit requires. We'll make sure that everything is there.
Absolutely,
We'll make sure that your vehicles are marked the way they're supposed to be.
absolutely.
And then we'll discuss this routing. It'll be 2 weeks. Our next meeting won't be this, no, not next week, the week after.
Exactly.
Okay?
Just so the board, we currently take that from the Logan pit, which is in Carver. I just don't want to add any confusion or think that I'm disrespecting the board. My trucks do have the right to use that road from the Carver location. The pit is in Carver and they come that way. So I just don't want any confusion if we're coming from the Logan pit in the next 2 weeks, that the board is thinking that we're disrespecting the board by coming that location. So if that's, I just want to make that.
understand that there's a set of eyes out there.
Oh,
that's liable to
and the
be
Senate,
following your truck.
they help me police my trucks. I
There you
have, like he said, and I think he agreed with me, if he's not happy with the signage, we can make it as big as they want. We went by what we thought was required. They gave us dimensions. We went by the dimensions that were required. But I just didn't want you guys to think that the next 2 weeks that if we're traveling that route, we're disrespecting the board or the neighbors in any way. We have the right to use that road coming from the other location. Alrighty, thank you.
Thank you. All right, next item on our agenda.
Mr. Chair?
Yes?
Just a question before we leave
Go ahead.
this completely. The point was brought up that the permit is to another person. Can the contractor change the conditions of the permit, or does the actual person who pulled the permit need to be here to make that change?
You know, oftentimes, the people who get the permit don't do the work, they hire people, and that's what's going on here.
But this is standard for the board to approve these kind of changes without the original person who pulled the permit?
I think it probably, you know, I think in this case, I think we'd want some sort of confirmation from the permit holder that Mr. Aruda is representing his interest in this. You know, again, a lot of times in these hearings, we have engineers testifying. Sometimes the permit applicant is here, sometimes they're not. But I think in this case, it's, you know, probably prudent to, you know, have some confirmation.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Now, 8 o'clock. We have Alan Decker, Director of the Land Protection for Buzzards Bay Coalition, to discuss the conservation restriction to be donated by the Rod and Gun Club.
That's me. Good evening.
That would be you.
Yes, sir. That's
Good
correct.
evening, sir.
Hi. So, as was stated, I'm Alan Decker with the Buzzards Bay Coalition, and I'm here on behalf of our organization to discuss with you a conservation restriction that's the final piece of a much larger overall conservation project. As you'll recall, I was in front of you several weeks ago on smaller conservation restriction. That piece of the project is now done. The Rod and Gun Club are happy owners of that acreage, and the town and the coalition are now the happy holders of that CR. This is a related portion. What this is as you've seen in your packets, a donated conservation restriction from the Rod and Gun Club to the Buzzards Bay Coalition for what was the existing acreage that the Rod and Gun Club owns south of Pine Street and east of I-495, Interstate 495. The map that was attached in your information gives you the boundaries for the property, and it does show that there is a 16-acre excluded area within the boundaries. The conservation restriction will actually affect or sit down, if you will, on 287 acres of the approximately 303-acre parcel. What's to happen in the 16-acre excluded area is completely up to the Rod and Gun Club. It was designed to encapsulate their existing improvements, their clubhouse and indoor firing range that they have, and a paved parking area. So what the restriction does is allows the gun club to continue the operations of a Rod and Gun Club on the premises, and as you will have noted, that includes a leased cranberry bog in the southern portion of the property, the allowance for the continued operation of their outdoor shooting range and the potential expansion and relocation of that outdoor range, the ability to continue to manage the property under an existing forest management plan, and potential creation of some additional ponds on the property. There's an existing pond that encapsulates approximately 10 acres thereabouts. So we're very excited about the opportunity to continue to be involved with the Rod and Gun Club on this project. Significant acreage. Very happy about it being in the watershed, obviously, and in the town of Middleborough. I don't want to belabor the points. I was in front of the Conservation Commission June 20th. They attested to the conservation values being protected by signing what's called municipal certification, which you've also been made privy to at this point. I'm more than happy to answer questions or concerns that the selectmen may have at this time. And it's important for me to also note that Howard Perkins from the Rod and Gun Club is here this evening as well. Oh, there it is. With that, more than happy to field comments, concerns, or questions.
I'm ecstatic with this project. I think you guys are doing a great job. I think this is a perfect partnership. The fact that it's contiguous with the Rocky Garden Mass Wildlife Management area is fantastic. I think both groups are doing a great job doing what you're doing, getting people outside and protecting our natural habitat. I took my bow hunter education class at the Wadkico Rod and Gun Club years ago, and I think Mr. Milton's sending his son off to a conservation camp from the Wadkico Rod and Gun Club this summer.
Sounds great. And all those type of operations are going to continue.
So it's all the good stuff and none of the bad stuff.
That's the intention. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, obviously, it's impending upon the coalition to ensure that the Rod and Gun Club adheres to the conservation restriction. We don't anticipate any issues with that whatsoever. Our partnership is solid. We're looking forward to getting it all squared away. But we do take our responsibilities seriously, and we'll be regularly monitoring the property, creating a baseline monitoring report, baseline documentation report as to the status of the property now, and be able to evaluate future uses against that report. So,
what's involved in generating that report? Simply, because I'm a simple person. So walking the territory?
Yeah, so it's based on physical walk of the premises, walking the boundaries, taking a number of pictures of attributes of the property. We're not going to photograph every tree stand because tree stands are effectively, in most cases, all the same. It's essentially documenting what's existing on the property. We'll capture the cranberry bog complex. We'll capture the pond. We'll capture the outdoor firing range that's on the premises. Get a copy of the current forest management plan, incorporate that in the baseline, and effectively exchange it with the Rod and Gun Club so that they agree that it's an accurate portrayal of the property. And what it's intended to do is be the evaluative tool against which future monitoring occurs. So, and our version covers 30, 35, 40 pages, something like that. It's a number of photos. We like to spend time outside the office, not in the office.
There you go.
Thank you for the question. Appreciate that.
My pleasure. So you're looking for a signature tonight? Is that?
Yeah, I would be. I'd be seeking actually a vote of authorization for the select board to sign ratifying this conservation restriction and authorizing its placement on the record. I have a signature page, and as before, I happen to be a notary, so I'm more than happy to notarize signs of the signatures of the board so votes.
Any of my board members have any other questions?
Nope.
Anything?
No.
No? Any of the audience have any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just want to...
Come right up here and speak to us, because we missed you.
I just want to thank the Gun Club for doing this. This is a wonderful thing to do.
Yes.
Keep it out of anything to do with development.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, what's the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Mr.
Make a motion that we authorize our chairman to vote to authorize the chairman to accept the above conservation restriction for the Wadkico Rod and Gun Club and the Buzzards Bay Coalition.
Second.
When we have a second, we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions? Concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? You guys have it.
Wonderful. If I may approach.
Oh, if you may approach. You need all of us to sign this?
Yes, sir. Majority would be wonderful. Unanimity is always nice.
Excuse me. Is the typo. On the signature page, it says Waukegan Road and Gunter.
There's a road.
I don't know.
You have to redo that?
No, sir, I can take care of it.
You can take care of that by... Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Member Frawley, you may be interested, I recall when I was here previously, you mentioned our swims.
Swimmers,
It happened Saturday, and we had 260 some odd swimmers.
Beautiful.
No Portuguese men of war, and everybody made it, so.
All right.
It was good.
That's important.
We missed you, though. so-
Maybe next year.
Yeah, next year, 21st.
You didn't do the open ocean swim?
I didn't, not this year. I
I'm
was,
so
I was
disappointed.
at a little swimming hole in the next town over with my 3-year-old and my 1-year-old.
Oh, you're gonna blame the kids for everything.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Howard, thank you very much for your efforts on that. Yes?
Mr. Chair, this is the last time you see me tonight, hopefully. I just want
Don't
to
make promises you can't keep.
I can do that. I just want to make a mention that you were talking about the Representative Oral and the river. I know I got the message that Representative Oral is working with Representative Schmidt and Senator Rodericks right now on an environmental bond bill that's coming up this week at the State House that they're working on pretty strenuously. So I just got a message on that. I wanted to pass it along to you folks and the people at home.
Thank you. Thank you. Having no other business to entertain, to do tonight, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.